But let's just talk about any tax planning or tax strategies that you're seeing this year, Joe, that might be changing in 2024.
Sure. Couple hot topics. So 179 depreciation on vehicles. So this is a vehicle that you buy. It has to have a gross vehicle weight of over 6,000 pounds. Most SUVs qualify. So you buy this, new or used. You can finance the entire thing. You don't have to come out of pocket $1. Currently, in 2023, 80% of that purchase price is a write-off.
Wow.
If you remember, last year it was 100%. In 2024, it drops down to 60%. You're seeing a lot of Trump's tax reform come to an end. And that's a big one right there. So you're looking at an SUV, it's over 6,000 pounds. You buy it, new or used. You finance it. You don't come out of pocket $1. You get 80% of that purchase price as a write-off right now in year run. That's a significant tax break.
If you squeeze it in before the end of the year, is it 100%?
Nope, that was in 2022.
Sure.
So for 2023, you only get 80% of that purchase price. And all you need is a VIN number by December 31st, 2023. You don't actually have to have the vehicle in your possession. Most of these dealers know these rules, some don't, but that's huge. Buy $100,000 vehicle, 80 grand is a write-off. Write off your gross commission. For you guys at a 30% tax savings, do the math. $80,000 write-off, that's $24,000 in tax savings.
Wow.
That's huge. Yep. And that's coming into an end. Next year, it's only 60%.
Got it. Any other big ones that you're seeing when you work with a new client to say, we're missing the boat? I know you've already talked about a couple. Is there any other ones that you feel like real estate agents really miss the boat on that you guys can help with?
There's a lot. And again, like I said, in your industry, so much you can justify as a write-off. You're traveling with your husband, with your wife. You're looking at rentals. You're looking at real estate. You're on that trip. You can write that off. Plane, hotel, travel meals. I see a lot of the home office stuff missed. I don't like the home office form. We've talked about that before. I think that's a red flag. What we do is we'll take a percentage of all of those utilities, write that off through the business. Typically 100% of that home internet. Look, you're at home, you're working, you're doing stuff within the home office, computers, iPads, desk, TVs, shelving, painting, all that stuff, 100% deductible. That can all be written off.
It's incredible. So
can we touch on retirement accounts for a little bit?
Yeah, qualified retirement accounts. For you guys, these are no-brainers. If you're in a non-S corporation, a SEP plan makes sense. In an S corporation, it's a solo 401k. Both those have very similar rules. The solo 401k makes sense for the S corporation because that's considered non-earned income. And what you can do, you can defer $22,500 out of your W-2. And if you're over 50, you can do the catch up of 7,500, so 30 grand. And when I say defer out of your W-2, we set up the S corp, we look at that reasonable compensation. Okay, 30 grand makes sense. You can take 22.5 and defer it right over into a solo 401k off that W-2. Okay, those SEP contributions and solo 401k contributions, those act as a business write-off. So again, 30%, you put 20 grand over into a solo 401k, you just saved 6 grand in taxes. No brainer. It's your money, right? You're taking it from this savings account over here, and you just created tax savings by doing so.
That saved me massively. I mean,
Yep.
that whole piece, Joe and our financial planner work closely together, which again, I don't want words in your mouth, Joe, but I would imagine you're happy to strategize with everyone's financial planners to make sure we're right hand, left hand on what's being done from a tax planning perspective. Is that right?
Absolutely. Your attorney, your financial planner, conference call, that works best. I don't sell financial products. I know some CPAs do. We're not in that. We're strictly focused on tax saving, and that kind of stuff. A lot of times I know a lot about those plans, sometimes more than a financial planner. So I can definitely help work with your financial planner and guide you. But as you guys start growing and you're making more and more money, you're, like I said, a business owner. So guess what? You're responsible for your retirement. You don't have a pension. You don't have stuff like this. You have to take advantage of this stuff and plan your life out. And by doing so, you're saving tax dollars. So if you got the money, send some money over there. There's some tax savings. Keep in mind too, you're like, well, the stock market, it's weird. 2024 is coming. I don't know. You can put money in these accounts. You don't have to invest it in the market. It can sit over in cash, over in savings, and you still get the write-off. Keep that in mind.
So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change gears. We're gonna get into some open Q&A. I see a lot of things happening in the chat. I'll just tell you guys again, when we talk about wealth creation, we talk about being a successful entrepreneur. I've talked about this for years, to have a team to help you manage your finances the same way you guys are part of your clients' financial teams, right? So I used to meet with Joe all the time. I was probably pretty annoying as a new client, but I had to meet with him just to understand the strategy, understand what we're doing. I see a lot of you saying, man, my CPA doesn't say anything like this, doesn't talk about any of this stuff. This is why it's important to have a financial planner, to have a CPA, to have an attorney, having a financial team that surrounds you in your business to ensure that you're set up the right way, that you're not overpaying in taxes, that you have little liability or risk. And so anyway, Joe, why don't we open up for some Q&A? The way we're going to do this, you guys, is exactly what you guys are doing. Raising your yellow Zoom hand, and we'll get through as many as possible. Ben, if you can handle getting people unmuted, and then you guys can ask away. Raymond, we can start with you first.
Well, I'll just go in order.
Yeah.
I'm seeing him on the list.
Oh, whoops, I'm sorry.
That's
Musa.
all good. Moose's first.
Yeah. Hey, Joe, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for being on, first of all. And Joe, I run into this quite often. I don't know how much business you do currently in Massachusetts, or if you're familiar with Mass.
Yep.
But I've had this conversation with my CPA regarding this subject. I wanted to proactively set up a corporation in order to just start, getting into the good habits, like you had been mentioning. And apparently here in Massachusetts, the entity that you create, I don't know if it's Massachusetts real estate license law, they can only pay, so if I do set up an S Corp or an LLC, I believe they can only pay another licensed brokerage or something to that effect. I keep getting different thought processes. There is another individual that is at my brokerage who has an S Corp that's not licensed as a brokerage, and the brokerage is paying his S Corp directly. Like they'll issue a check to his S Corp. So I just don't know what the thought process is around that.
Super common question. I'm in the state of Michigan, like Brandon, and our rule here is to get paid as an S corporation, you need your broker's license. Okay. However, two things that I can explain based on your questions. One, the rule about having your broker's license is a state rule, not an IRS rule. Okay. I've been doing this 20 years. My father, who started this firm, he's been doing it 42 years. We've never seen an issue with a realtor and the IRS filing an S corporation who didn't have their broker's license. That being said, Brandon knows what I'm going to say. If that's the rule, go get your broker's license. The test isn't too bad. However, you won't have an issue with the IRS.
Let me
go ahead.
Can I just add something from a broker's perspective? So Musa, we have the same rule in Michigan. We share that. What Joe just said is exactly how we handle that with all of our agents. So we issue them their commission check. We issue it to them personally, and they have no issue taking that check that we issued to them personally, and then they take that check and put it into the business bank account.
Okay.
Yep, that's that. And then secondly, so that's it. You get it, business bank account, do everything that I talked about, go through my checklist. Secondly, then you're going to get a 1099 that's going to come to your social, not to your tax ID of the S corporation. So you take that 1099 on your personal return. You say, hey, IRS, this was actually reported on tax ID, blah, blah, blah. Kick it over and report it on your S corporation. That's the easiest way to do that. Silly rule. Some states have it, some states don't. But there's definitely easy way around it. And if you're grossing over 150, like I said, not doing the S corporation, the couple extra steps is way worth the tax savings. And again, not an issue with the IRS. This is a state rule. If you really want to sleep well at night, go get that broker's license. You don't have to worry about it, but not an issue with the IRS.
Yeah, makes sense. And this is when I do get that 1099, this is something my CPA a CPA can take care of, right?
Yeah, easy.
I don't want to put I don't want to put any thought process into this.
Yeah, no, it's simple. Hey, this is all going to be reported under my S corporation. There's an actual line item on the personal tax return where you can shift 1099 stuff over into a tax ID. So it's actually put on the return for that purpose.
Okay. Makes sense. Thank you.
Yep.